Hi, and welcome to the Practically Minimal vlog. If we haven't met before, I'm Shauna, and I'm the founder of Practically Minimal. So Practically Minimal basically explores minimalism and mindfulness and looks at ways that we can apply that to our everyday lives. So today I am so thrilled. We have an amazing guest. We are going to touch on a really cool subject, energetic clearing. And this is definitely something that I am really interested in learning more about. Clearing that energy, clearing those vibes. So today I have Jess Flude, and Jess is a certified Theta healer. So I'll just tell you a quick little bit about Jess, and then we will hop right into it. So Jess has been a certified Theta healer since 2014 and has been involved with various self-help development modalities for the last 15 years. By working with your subconscious mind, your body and soul, Jess will help you overcome what holds you back so you can move forward on your path with purpose, motivation, confidence, and a deeper self-awareness. That sounds incredible. Thanks so much for joining us, Jess.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me. I'm really excited to be chatting with you. And I'm really excited.
Yeah, definitely. And I don't know if you know this or not, but I first sort of, not even necessarily connected with you, but I guess discovered you during a virtual retreat that I took last spring. So you were presenting in it. And immediately I was just struck by your like super Zen kind of energy. And I obviously loved everything you had to say as well. So I started following you on Instagram and connected from there. So that's kind of our little story.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. And you've joined some of my lives and yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. If you guys, you have to give us your Instagram handle. I'll make sure that I put it in the write-up as well. But Jess does, is it every Tuesday night, I think? She does energetic clearing sessions live on Instagram. So definitely something that you'll want to check out for sure. So I know that I'm super curious to learn a little bit more about theta healing. But before we go there, can you just kind of tell us your story? How did you get into this? Like what led you to theta healing?
Yeah, it started 15 years ago, 16 years ago now. When I was a teenager, and I wasn't the happiest kid. Like I was pretty happy and I had a good life, but I just would always sort of struggle with my own confidence, my own self-worth. I'd always had a bit of social anxiety. It's a pretty anxious kid, and I wasn't the happiest kid. And I remember like looking around my classroom as a teenager being like, what's the difference between me and that other person? Like we've kind of been born in the same area or raised in the same area. Why are they more confident than me, or why are they more joyous than me, or why are they more peaceful than me, or why are they more zen than me? And I was just like, I was just kind of started questioning, like, what's the difference between two people? Are we just born this way? Is it stuff that I can work through? Like I wasn't like super stoked on where I was at that point, like my mental health. Or it was just like, I just wasn't the happiest. And I was like, why is this happening? Why is this to be? Why am I like this? And I'm like, is this? And when I looked out into my future, I didn't see a future full of possibility. I kind of saw this more like narrow circle of like, this is the way things have been, this is the way things are going to be. And I just wasn't super stoked. I saw a bit more of a beige future for myself. And it just really made me start questioning like human potential and the difference between two people and life. And I just felt so disempowered. So I went on this sort of quest of discovery of like, well, what is it? Like, what's life all about? And I was very fortunate at the age of 15 to be introduced to different educational programs that really make you really question your fabric of reality of your understanding of life. And pretty much would do all these different courses where you kind of just dive into your mind and pull it apart. And I realized that the biggest difference between two people is our belief systems. How we believe the world to be is how we see the world, then we go on how we behave in the world. So really, I feel for the most part, the biggest difference between two people is how we view our capabilities, what we think is possible for us, what we think is possible in the world, or what we think we can create, and our self-worth, our love, our self-love, all of that. So that was a speaker turning off in the background. So that was really what I really learned from that. And then so I dove headfirst into different self-development programs, sort of being like, well, what is my potential? What is possible for me? And through that, I developed a lot more confidence. I became a coach in different modalities, and life was getting better and better and better. I was becoming more confident, and I was just able to sort of sit back and question why I was thinking what I was thinking, perceiving what I was perceiving, and then behaving the way I was behaving, and then my life. And yeah, so then I became a self-expression and leadership coach, because I had all these sort of 8 years of tools under the belt that I was then able to help other people with, which felt really good. And then my quest kept going and going and going with it. And then my auntie introduced me to Theta Healing in 2014. And that was just amazing. I really fell into Theta Healing just by recommendation, because I tried a whole bunch of different modalities. And I think what stood out for me is, prior to that, my self-development journey had been, you go to a workshop, or you go into a program, and then you kind of like rip your brain apart and go through all the old wounds, and then kind of like put yourself in a boxing ring and bash the shit out of yourself, and then come out the other side and then try and put everything back together. And then kind of walk away with like different tips and tricks. And it was a pretty freaking rough ride.
Yeah, sounds
like open up the closet. Yeah, open up the closet of like, you're like, okay, like let's get all the skeletons out. Let's dive into these wounds and rub salt. And that was my prior experience to self-development. I don't know if anyone who's watching this resonates with that, as you've gone on a self-development journey. But what I loved about Theta Healing, it was just such a gentle, peaceful, beautiful modality. I went and did one Theta Healing session, and I remember it going deeper than I'd ever gone before, into my like mind and my psyche and my subconscious, and into my belief system, as in like, because what we're not, maybe some people might know this, some people might not, but about 5 to 10% of our thinking, our mind, is conscious. So we're consciously aware of it. The other half is subconscious. So 90 to 95% is subconscious, and it's an area of our mind, our brain, our thoughts, our feelings, our beliefs that we're not fully aware of. So that sometimes we have these old repeating patterns. We're like, why do I keep doing this? Or why do I keep attracting these type of people in my life?
Yeah.
Or why can't I just feel life me? Why can't I just stay motivated? Or am I just not confident? And that's when like you have trouble sometimes putting your finger on it. It's something that's so deeply buried into your subconscious, and that's why you usually need to do the work for your outside world to shift and change. And I remember, Theta Healing just being such a really beautiful modality, and it was so deeply empowering and just so gentle, and it went so deep. And I remember just afterwards, life just shifted around me. I realized in that one session that I had the belief that had been running my whole life, was that life is a struggle. So I'd always been struggling through things.
Right.
I'd always sort of be like, I have to struggle to get out of bed in the morning. Like, I have to go to work. And I could see so much struggle in the world, with how people are going about life. And that's just the lens that was coloring my world.
Right.
So when that one got lifted, I could see color differently, and life just completely was so bright and beautiful. And I didn't have to struggle through things. I could see the joy and beauty in the world as well. And I remember like, what is this modality? It just blew my socks off. I hadn't quite experienced anything like that before. So I was like, I have to study this. And I just loved how the results afterwards just shifted so beautifully. Everything just kind of fell into place, and just went about life, and everything just came together beautifully. I didn't have to walk away with like a list of things to try and implement, or things to say to myself, or because it just works that deep, and it just goes that deep.
Wow.
If that makes sense. It fully encapsulates your mind, your body, your spirit, your soul. So everything. And I think the biggest thing with Theta Healing is you really uncover the root cause of what's holding someone back.
Right.
Whether it might be, they have, like, oh man, I have a problem in this relationship, or I'm having trouble with my self-love and self-worth, or I just keep like going through the same pattern again. I feel like I keep bashing myself up against a brick wall. Theta Healing is able to unravel what that root cause is, because it just goes so deep into your mind and into your mind, body, spirit, soul, all the way deep down to see what's holding you back, and then it heals it and shifts it from that place.
Wow, that's incredible. I mean, especially, your experience after only one session, with that after doing all of the work that you've done prior. And one thing I just want to say, like, I'm a little bit blown away by your awareness at such a young age, you know,
Yeah.
to be thinking that way. Because when I was a teenager, I'm telling you, like, I wasn't anywhere near that. I'm 38 now, and I'm just in maybe the last like 4 years, kind of started like doing that kind of work. So wow, you're light years ahead of me, that's for sure.
Yeah, thank you. It all comes to different ages, but when the time's right?
Yeah, and that's the truth. Everyone's on their own journey, their own path. There's no set time for anybody, for sure.
No.
So you've given us like a really good picture of like what theta healing is. So what does a session kind of look like? Like, if, you know, like, what would somebody expect, like, kind of hopping into a session with you?
Yeah, I mean, I do it all over Zoom, so it's like this. So with lots of chatting back and forth. It is quite spiritual. So it's the sort of the structure of it is like a Zoom call. I connect in with their energy and we talk. And I do different techniques to get everyone into a theta brainwave, which is your beautiful sleep waking state.
Okay.
It's a very peaceful state, and it's a beautiful brainwave to access your subconscious mind. It's like a deep meditative state, but you're still consciously aware of what's going on. And then we have a conversation. Someone's usually talking about, you know, this is what's happening in my life. And I'm here now. This isn't where I want to be. This is where I want to go. And it's like I ask different questions and we slowly like unravel in a very beautiful, gentle way, and with different tools and techniques that I use to then find the root cause, and we find the root cause of what's holding them back. We figure out why it's there, how it's serving them. A lot of us don't always realize, but in a deeply subconscious way, the reason we might be experiencing resistance in life is because it's serving us in some way.
Right.
Maybe they're like maybe that's how they're subconsciously wired to understand or build strength. Or maybe they go through getting motivation by beating the shit out of themselves mentally and putting themselves down, and then and then they get themselves really angry at themselves, so then they go and be motivated. We find all these little like why, and then we do the energy healing, the belief work, the belief shifts. So each session of course looks different, but that's the general framework. And then we're then able to shift and heal it all. And so and then I find people walk away just really lighter, freer, new perspectives, new understandings. Usually it's like you feel like the huge weights just come off their shoulders.
Right. Yeah, that's what I was going to ask you next. Like, kind of what's the outcome?
I find people's worlds, just like the possibility of their life just opens up, because we've found old patterns and different programming that's been holding them back all these years. And in that, they've had limited views of the world, or like maybe it's whatever they've inherited, maybe whatever they've picked up from society or experienced in their own life. And they're like sort of looking at the world through this narrow tunnel of like, oh, this is what's possible, or this is the way it is. And then when we're able to heal and shift all that, they'll just walk out like there's so much more expansive possibility. And I feel like people are usually a lot more connected within themselves. Like it fosters a deeper connection with themselves. Their intuition, their understanding of their feelings, their intuition, their gut instincts, their desires, their ambitions, what will bring them fulfillment. So
it really is like a meditation then.
Kind of. It's a lot of energy healing. So as the energy healer, I'll be connecting in with the energy of that, with their energy. I connect in with the energy of all that is, that universal energy. I could get like really into the weeds about it if you like, but it's a lot of me facilitating energy healing, orchestrating different things, healing different things, shifting beliefs for them, and like being the facilitator and the space holder. So it is a bit of a meditation, but a lot more like a meditation. It sort of looks a bit like a meditation, but has a lot more energy healing to it.
Gotcha. Yeah, because I mean, I meditate every day, and it's like very rare that I can kind of get that far from what you're describing, right? It's most days it's usually like 5-10 minutes, and I'm like, okay, that's kind of what I can do today. So that's amazing. So what kind kind of talking about like energy healing versus energy clearing. Like, is that kind of the same thing, or is there a difference between the two? Or like, what's your kind of thought
Uh,
on that?
I'd say energy healing is like the big umbrella, and then energy clearing is a part of it.
Okay.
So energy clearing, I do energy clearings every Tuesday, and that's to bring everyone back to who they are, or do some belief work. The energy healing itself is doing, because like when we talk about energy, everything is energy.
Right.
Like our cells are energy, our bodies are made of energy, everything, matter is made of energy, everything in the world is energy. And then, so yeah, that's when we talk about energy healing, we're healing like so much. So the mind, the body, the spirit, viewing it as energy. We are in the Western world, we're very much raised in a physical world where we see like things as being physical. But when, I think if you get into the quantum physics of things, they talk about the energy of everything. So so it's energy healing. It's like healing, like if it's people's thoughts, their feelings, their past, their future, their body, and things like that. So that is for energy healing. People might come to me for maybe, physical ailments, like something's happening with their shoulder, and we can figure out why that's happening, and then we do the healing that way. So energy healing is doing like, the mind, the body, spirit, soul, taking care of everything that needs to be taken care of and doing a lot of belief work. So I feel like I believe that beliefs are sort of like our blueprint, our operating platform from which we operate. How we believe the world to be is how we see the world. That's how we then operate, and that gives us the life that we have. So it's like working with your blueprint and your understanding of the world. So when we do energy healing and doing a lot of belief work, and that's usually, I do a lot of that one-on-one because it's very unique to each person.
Right.
I do energy clearings with like groups. So sometimes I'll talk about a topic that really applies to everyone who's watching, and I'll connect them with everyone's energy, and then I'll usually do a lot of clearing of like unplugging everyone from group consciousnesses that aren't helpful, like or unplugging people from different mindsets that are not helpful, or helping people just shed everyone else's energy, because as we go through the day, we can pick up everyone's like moods and vibes. When someone walks into the room, or if someone you love comes home and they've had a really rough day, if you're an empath, you can be like, oh, this is kind of really rattling, like go deal with stuff. So, or if you get stressed in traffic, or if you go to the supermarket, or if you go to the post office and no one wants to know, I've never seen people at the post office who like feel like they're really happy. So all of those energies can really like pile on top of us. So it can be maybe the energy that of what a group consciousness might feel about a certain topic. Like how does everyone, like we're doing the program we're doing, like how do people feel about their workspace? If you're feeling frustration, annoyance, procrastination, the energy clearing helps shift all of that energy, so it can come back to a place of like wiping the slate clean, cleansing it, so it can come back to what you want to create it as intentionally.
That's amazing. Yeah, because it is so interconnected, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh, it's so interconnected. It's amazing how the physical body is connected to the emotional part of us, which is connected to, it's amazing. It's seeing the web of connections, pretty amazing.
Yeah.
So does that make sense? Did I break that?
No,
down?
It does. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And if anyone has any questions or any comments, just put the comments in below here on the blog, or DM Jess, and she'll answer them for you.
Yeah.
So how should people connect with you? So if they're interested in learning, a little bit more about theta healing, maybe, trying to discover if it's for them, or to look into a session with you, how can they reach you?
Yeah. So Instagram's probably the best place. So my Instagram handle is Jess Flude. So Jess is short for Jessica, and then Flude is F for Freddie, Lude. So Jess Flude is my Instagram handle, and in there you just send me a DM. That's straightforward enough. I've also got my website, jessflude.com, for those who don't have Instagram. So those are two places where and I have all my contact details there. If you're wanting to find out more about it, I have different videos that I've posted about like what is theta healing and what to expect from a session, or and then I have my Tuesday nights of transformation, and they're all recorded, and the healings and everything are just as effective if you watch the replays. So you can, so you don't have to, if you can't catch it live, it's always good to catch the replay. And sometimes you catch the live and then you want to keep watching the replays. If you're like, okay, I need to, if there's something in life that is, like I've got a few in there about releasing the fear that you pick up in the world, especially with, fear can be contagious. So it's just nice to clear all that out so you can come back to being you and move forward with the mindset that you want. So yeah, that's the best place to get in touch with me, either my website or my Instagram. And then, there's a lot of my Instagram around, but they can do a whole bunch of different energy clearings and so awesome. See what my vibe is all about.
Yeah, get to kind of test it out a little bit before doing your own like personal one-on-one session.
Yeah.
Getting some of the benefits ahead of time and then diving really deep into it when they actually get to work with you directly.
Yeah. And that's the difference. Like the group energy clearings are really effective and they're beautiful, but it is working on a group level, on a topic that when I do the live, I'm connecting into everyone's energy. I'm getting guided as to what to work on for everyone. So the common links that are connecting everyone. So I'm like, okay, clear this next, work on this next, and I get guided as to what to do next. With reading everyone's energy and reading what's coming up. But when it's one-on-one, of course, we can go so much more personalized and so much deeper into just seeing what people need to release so they can live a really empowered life. Or because it's pretty amazing how much we inherit from our family. And this could be like hundreds of years ago beliefs that get passed down, or things, the way society has shaped us. And if you're wanting to really go out there in life and choose design a life that you really want to live, if everyone around you maybe has done one thing forever, and you're like, no, I want to create this, and this is a business I want to create, and this is what isn't out in the world, and this is what and you're really at the forefront, and you're really pushing beyond what's been created before. It's amazing to just go and work through your stuff of what's holding you back, because there's going to be all these old constructs that are keeping you stuck and held back. So it's pretty amazing when you do the inner work, how your outer world will then shift, because it just releases you from all these hidden, unknown constructs that get stuck.
And then once you kind of like figure it out, it just feels so simple. It's like, how did I not see that before?
Oh yeah, when you can finally, like when we get to the end of the session, we can see like, oh, you see that here and everything we've uncovered, how it's all connected, and they're like, oh yeah. But sometimes when you're in the thick of it, you can't see it, or it's just so deeply subconscious, right? Or it's sometimes what comes up seems really abstract that our conscious logical minds would be like, what? But when we do all the belief work and the belief testing and seeing like what beliefs are actually sitting there and what's ringing true on a deeply subconscious level with all the different techniques that I use, it's like, oh, wow, okay, that's interesting. I would never thought that was there, but it is what it is. It's nice to release though.
Oh, that's awesome. Mm-hmm. Well, thank you so much for this. I feel like I've definitely learned a lot, and I know that everybody watching will definitely take some really valuable stuff away from this conversation. Mm-hmm. And so definitely connect with Jess if you want to get more into this, do some unblocking. But thanks again for joining us on the blog.
Yeah, you're welcome. It was an absolute treat. And I just hope, like, one thing, if you walk away from this, remember that so much is possible for you. Sometimes it's just old subconscious stuff you just need to release so you can truly step forward into what you want to create in this world. So sometimes it's just that simple. So
that's awesome. That's beautiful. Thanks, Jess.
You're welcome.